When a man who lived alone died, his neighbors found out a very interesting secret about his life. Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to our channel. In today's video, we'll talk about the story of a single man who lived a life with a shocking secret that was only found out after he died. So, let's start by watching the whole video. Alan Naiman, a Seattle resident, died of cancer in January 2018. After his death, the community discovered a remarkable mystery about his life. In the late 1980s, Singleton joined Washington's Department of Social and Health Services as a social worker. Naiman worked several other occupations while doing social work. One of Daniel's acquaintances believed that caring for his developmentally handicapped sibling shaped his life as a child. In December 2018, Susan Madsen told the Associated Press that Naiman's love of children was fueled by his work with disabled children as a social worker. Although the former banker never married, he did become a foster father. One of his co-workers noted that Alan's heart was touched by the kids in care. Monaghan told BBC News in December 2018 that his modest spending was noticed by his friends and peers. On one occasion, the social worker taked his old shoes instead of buying new ones. Naiman's scrimping continued. The previous foster dad often took his pals to fast food places for lunch. However, Naiman's low spending didn't represent his financial condition as a social worker, making just under $70,000 a year. One of his old banking acquaintances revealed his money perspective. After maintaining contact with his old coworker, Shashi Karen made an interesting point. Conserving money was a game to him. Karen told CNN in December 2018 that he would brag about how he had a whole day out and didn't have to spend a single cent in 2013, though Naiman briefly brought an end to the game following a heartbreaking personal loss. Naiman's brother Daniel died that year, which prompted him to dip into his financial reserves. Off the back of losing his sibling, the Seattle native treated himself to a present, buying a sporty vehicle, despite Karen believing that he was still holding back in his savings. Karen said of Naiman's vehicle, "But it's not a Mustang, a Corvette, or a Porsche that he easily could have afforded prior to that." The social worker's cars had reflected his frugal spending, as did the many road trips he took during his time off. On the note, Karen made a bittersweet observation about his friend after his death, after knowing him for over 30 years. "His life has mysteries," a former banker colleague told AP. "I don't know if he was lonely. I assume he was a loner. But following his cancer diagnosis, Naiman started to put things in place, with one group in particular benefiting. The Seattle resident donated $5,000 to the Foster Care Treehouse nonprofit, which surprised many, as the Treehouse's chief development officer announced that donations would rarely exceed a few $100s. Jessica Ross was one of those people. She told BBC News that "We were startled, but Naiman's co-workers and friends would be most surprised." The social worker died of cancer in January 2018, 5 years after his brother's death, and his peers then discovered an astounding mystery about his life. Despite his conservative spending, Naiman had a fortune of $11 million, which he raised in various ways using his work earnings. According to Karen, the former banker made various ventures and inherited millions of dollars from his late father. "I think he always knew he was going to leave his money to charity." Certainly, the former banker shared that news with one of his other pals who held off on announcing the sum. "I think everyone was shocked, I mean genuinely surprised, that Naiman had that much money to give away," Karen told CNN. After the finding, Naiman's $11 million fortune was divided up and handed to several charities and organizations, including Make-A-Wish Alaska, Washington Childhood, and The Little Bit. Meanwhile, Therapeutic Riding Center received another large donation, far exceeding the previous one. Naiman gave the Treehouse around $900,000 of his money, shocking everyone at the foster care organization, because during his stint as a foster parent, the social worker took his children to their facility to pick up some of the free toys. Naiman's donation again left Ross stunned. "Our company was overwhelmed by such warmth and love that," she told BBC News, I don't want the number 2 to outweigh the experience of being a part of this, which was really about the way he wanted to lead the world. While the money will strengthen treehouse initiatives across Washington, Ross couldn't help but praise Naiman's name and selflessness once more. That pure demonstration of philanthropy and love meant that those organizations weren't the only ones to benefit from Naiman's millions, Ross said, adding that the former banker also donated around $2.5 million to another cause. Indeed, the Pediatric Interim Care Center received that sum after Naiman's donation. Last fall, Ellen donated $10,000 online, introducing us to his generosity. The statement read, "Thinking that a large amount might be a mistake, we called him to make sure he had entered the right number of zeros, after reassuring the charity that the figure was correct. No one promised that he would be sending them even more money down the line from there." The care center then received some interesting information, and he later wrote us a letter telling us about a connection to PICC that had started many years ago. The tribute continued, going back to a night many years ago when Barbara took the baby, but his social work often drew him back to PICC later, and Barbara and the Pediatric Intermediate Care Center were always there for him and the babies he never forgot on that note. The corporation then stated how the $2.5 million donation would be utilized. Gracia's Naiman PICC purchased new vehicles to pick up infants from the local hospital, but the hefty payment also ensured the charity's long-term viability. In another way, when Alan died in January, he left a portion of his wealth to care for the babies at the Pediatric Interim Care Center. Alan's kindness allowed PICC to pay off the mortgage on our building, giving babies a safe place of their own for many years to come. The care center hailed a hefty donation one last time with a heartfelt message on its website. "We are so grateful to Alan, not only for his legacy, but also for the life he devoted to Chloe Drennan, who paid her own tribute to him. While she was grateful for the money he left her charity, the founder of the organization stated that while the couple had crossed paths in the past, they hadn't fully met on those occasions, leaving her with an unfulfilled longing. We would never dream that something like this would happen to us," she said. Meanwhile, Naiman's friend Karen revealed that some of the money was going to other worthy causes outside of the children's charities. The social worker's fortune was being shared with a disabled American veterans organization, and a sum was donated to his parents' old church. Karen then revealed a bittersweet conversation he had with his former colleague about his financial plans. This was all about today's video. Please share your thoughts on our video below. Don't forget to give it thumbs up and share our video. Please check out our channel and subscribe if you like what you see. We thank you for tuning in.